we will first show animations of the high spatio-temporal coherence that's present in most rendering applications. In these animations, the green regions represent surface areas that were visible in the previously rendered frame, while red regions were occluded. By caching information for the green regions, which constitute the vast majority of pixels, our method significantly reduces rendering time. Now we will show some results of using reprojection with an expensive pixel shader on a dragon mesh. This result uses the brute force method of shading every pixel. It renders at 35 frames per second. We can achieve almost a factor of 2 speedup by using the tiled approach shown here. It renders at 60 frames per second. As you can see, it always updates a quarter of the screen in addition to the pixels that failed the reprojection z-test. And this is a visualization of the error using the tiled method. In this example, we use the random method. Note that it exhibits some noise near specular highlights where the color changes significantly. It renders at 67 frames per second. And this is the update pattern for this example. And finally, the error. In this next example, we use a pixel shader that includes an expensive translucency computation. We can get a large speedup by caching the shader result and using the tiled reprojection method as shown here. However, the specular light updates at too low a speed for this particular example. So we instead only cache the expensive translucency computation and recompute the specular lighting at every frame. We still get a significant speedup of 10 to 35% depending on camera angle with no significant rendering artifacts. Now we show a motion blur example. In this comparison, a 3-pass example that uses the brute force method is shown on the left, while our reprojection result using 6 passes is shown on the right. Both methods render at the same speed. As you can see, the reprojection method produces a higher quality result. Now we present a depth of field result. Here, a 3-pass example that uses the brute force method is shown on the left, while our reprojection result using 7 passes is shown on the right. Both methods render at the same speed. We will end by showing a shadowing example. This is a scene rendered with a shadow map resolution of 1024 by 1024. As you can see, the aliasing caused by the shadow map is highly noticeable. We now switch to a projection-based approach that uses the same shadow map. This method accumulates contributions from reprojected pixels over multiple frames based on the reprojection framework. As long as the light doesn't move too abruptly between frames, this approach is able to reduce shadow aliasing significantly.